reconnect in a moment's flash, because those connections are never lost when you really love somebody. So at any rate, I wrote this in memory of him because he passed away 6 years ago, and nevertheless, he still lives on in our hearts. So I'm going to ask my friend Greg to come up for the next song. It's called Living on the Farm. A few years later, when I went back to school up in Plymouth, New Hampshire, I was living on a farm in the Pemigewasset Valley. And we were looking across the valley at a mountain called Stinson Mountain, which was a little west of Plymouth. We used to hike up there quite often with our dogs. And I was just learning how to play the guitar at this time, and I was trying to figure out, okay, I could kind of play a melody on just one string without knowing any chords. And I'm going to ask Greg, since when I wrote this song, I never put structure to it. It was always free form. And I wrote it sitting on a winter day in our little room, and my best friend, Juan, who was still alive, and he's sitting over there. We were roommates in that old farm, and we built a set of bunk beds out of birch logs that never caved in. So somehow we did that right, even though we had no skill whatsoever in terms of lashing. But anyway, this is called Living on the Farm. It was written on a winter day, looking out the window on this farm. And growing up in New Jersey and moving to New Hampshire, it helped me claim a part of myself that I never knew existed. And I think that part of me is still with me. And that's why this song is so special for me. So I'm going to ask Greg to noodle along while I noodle along. We'll just have some fun with this for a couple minutes, because it was always about fun. At that same time, I've been playing harmonica for a couple of years, and I tried to make my own harmonica holder. And I made one out of a coat hanger. And it darn near poked my eyes out. So I stopped. And I bought one of these. But nevertheless, this is the key. Just make sure that I'm in the right thing. I get nervous. Like I said, this is one of the scarier things I've ever done. Just being honest. well, we're going to do the next song. Maybe 10 years later, I was living in a place called Squant's Pond down in Sherman, and friends John and Julia, they were living there. Paul and Lori were there, and first time in my life I ever lived on a lakefront. Lived there for 2 years, and the song's really about, swimming across the lake in the morning, first thing, when there's fog on the water. The lake wasn't so wide that you couldn't swim across safely, and we did it often. And then, like when it froze, we'd ski across, cross-country skis. And like if you've ever tried to go down a mountain on touring skis, it was crash and burn most of the time on the way down the mountain. So that's what we did in the beginning of the winter. And then later on, we took a walk at 2 o'clock in the morning on, dead of winter. It's probably 5 degrees out, and we had been an ice storm, and we fell off a ledge. And got hurt, but we lived. And so it's about that. And then, of course, the spring finally came around, and it was like, so it's that sort of, there's an impulsive aspect of me that you may not know about. It used to be much more intense at one time. You know that. Falling off cliffs is not something I've done in a couple of weeks. So, not really. I need to tune this again.
So Ed, while you're tuning, I gotta say one thing, because it's been over 33 years since we crossed paths.
Wow.
And harmonica, guitar, fun parties. You asked me to play this band 7 years ago, and it just fits and feels really good. And I just wanted you to know that I think this is an honor and a privilege to be here up on stage.
This is Dave Mallison. And we've known each other for quite a while. This is Greg Rice. And this is Scott Camara. Make sure this is all tuned up properly. That'll help. Yeah. Lake, so silent still as the fog, it still softly lay through the water. We did glide on our way. To that wooded side. Dun, dun, dun. backs. Oh, we did crawl across her smile. Cooled and soon unfroze. The fog at rest with them old summer clothes. Now one skis is quick on the passing day on sunlit hills and sunlit hills with that old dappled clay. Now the rocky ledge, so strong and still as the restless wind through the limbs does play. Now with a silent moon on our side, crisp blue snow on crisp blue snow, so did Clyde. Right on out over the edge now. We fell about 15 feet, landed in a heap on another ledge that was also at an angle, and we started to slide again. And that's when things got scary, because we didn't know how that was going to end. But fortunately, we slowly slid to a stop, with only minor injuries like a dislocated shoulder and a dozen bruises. Ice is out, the water's free to overturn and greet the spring. The geese return and each day's breeze. Oh, the frost has thawed, the frost has thawed, and life is at ease. Life is at ease. Oh, life is at ease. Oh, life is at ease. Funny evening of that story. John over there, we kind of waltzed out down the mountain through the woods across the lake. The funny thing about coming down off that after that accident was John kept traction on my right arm, walking down the mountain across the lake, pulling on my arm to keep me from whining like a baby. And it worked. The trouble was, it was like 7 hours later before a doctor put it back in. That was a bad part of the night. Yeah. So, this next song is called Falkland Island Blues. It was written in about 84 maybe, when Britain went to war temporarily with Argentina over the Falkland Islands. You know, and at that time it was sort of a, you know, I'm not a huge historian or necessarily a politician, but it kind of reminded me of the great empires of the world, of which Britain certainly was. Many of our allies were. And one by one, those colonies kind of broke apart. You know, it's what it amounts to. People want their freedom. Duh. We know all about that. But at any rate, this song emerged for some reason, and it's an instrumental. The words are really easy. I was teaching over at Wamogo. I took summer off and spent 5 weeks in the Rockies and the Wind River Range, getting certified to be a wilderness guide. And that changed my life because it gave me some of the skills and the attitude to keep doing don't spend 5 weeks anymore in the woods. I do spend an awful lot of time in the woods, and it's very therapeutic. And so when I wrote this song, it was really about a difficult time in my life that I had gone through, and the chorus helped me heal from that and give me a different attitude. I wasn't so down on myself. So it's called Let It Ride, and it really was basically a lecture to myself about getting my own act together in a different way. But then as time passed, and I watched culture in general change and mature, I realized that it's actually a statement also about our current culture, and almost a statement out to all of us, to our culture, about getting our act together. So you'll understand what I mean when you hear these words. I have to change harps all the time because these are diatonic harmonicas, meaning each harp has one key. So if we change songs, we have to have different keys. See, you lost control, my friend. Life's one hard ride. So hang on tighter, lad, and keep your stride and let it ride. Let it ride, let it ride, let it ride. All the things that you all deal with, they made you want to cry. So you then took the cover of your own ways you hide. But yes, you know, my friend, that if you're to survive, you might try and look at life from one another's eyes. Let's not forget the truth. We all know inside, how can man keep on hating and think that God's on his side? Why follow leaders with greed that's made them blind, when everybody I know has got peace, sweet peace on his mind? Oh, let it ride. Oh, the things we all do, they might make one cry. And take a cover of our own ways we ride. Just know, my friends, that if we're to survive, we might try and look at life through other people's eyes. The cycle it returns, you made the same mistake twice, stranded on the beach with that incoming tide. A laugh at yourself will help you rise and rest along the waves like an otter glides. Let us ride, let it ride, let it ride. Journey, it progresses. You oftentimes look back, feel on your way, a safety lines throw slack, motion for help. When it comes back, you realize you're not alone as you study the tracks of the ride. hillside, let us ride. Let it ride, let us ride. Listen to your ancient guide, let us ride. Oh, 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 truck was the beginning of this whole journey, and this next piece of our work has to do with the four directions, which I did some studying with the Berkshire Men's Council up on Camp High Rock and other places.
Is this it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you can put that on.
Top, bottom?
Either way, makes no difference. And that particular model is a Native American model that's based on the idea that all four cardinal directions have a very different perspective. And it's like having your four best friends in your head, and you listen to them even though you don't always like what they're saying. But the idea is they're opposing perspectives, so it often jars us from getting stuck in the stupid moods that we think are the truth. When in fact there's at least three other ways to look at the same thing, and what it does is it gives us balance. So I was so impressed with that particular model that when Jill and I met, which was in 2001, we shared it with our kids. We have 4 kids all together. And the song is called Broken Arrow because when I grew up in the 50s and I watched Western movies, it seemed like when Native Americans made peace with other tribes, they'd break an arrow and that kind of represented peace. I think there's some truth to that. So the song is called Broken Arrow, but it has references to the 4 directions, and that's why I wrote the song. There's no keyboard. North, south, east, west, solstice and equinox, and all the rest. Try to balance your life on this wobbly ass sphere. It takes a whole lot of trust to master your fear. The dancers move from heart to hand through some howling storms. The ship's still land. Smile so broad you can fly where no one. Fearless wings, the wild things to run. With kids and dogs, life's rivers flow through broken arrows point. Through broken arrows point in 4 directions. Strong wills and beauty attract each other. 2 wounded families unite for love and adventure. Nose to the ground, eye to the horizon, kept our wits in tune with that collective destination. Smile so broad you can fly right through a mountain. Fearless wings, the wild things drew. Kids and dogs, life's rivers flow. Through broken arrows point. Through broken arrows point in 4 directions. says just go drink from that fountain. Throw out that blame and shame crap and see what that gets you. So we gave it a try. Sure enough, smile so broad you can fly right through them. Feel the swings of wild things drew 'em. With kids and dogs, life's rivers flow through 'em. Broken arrows point, broken arrows pointing forward direction. Sweat burning my eyeballs. Now I understand why fishermen wear rain. Well, thank you. Some time passed. Okay, thank you. Wrote this song. Jill and I met in 2001, and you know how sometimes when you fall in love with someone, you see yourself differently because they see you differently, and it really it throws off sometimes your image in a good way, and that's really what it was about because I sort of never figured that things would get all that good. But when they did, you know, I wrote that never don't last forever. And that's the name of this song. So I thank my dear wife, wherever you are. There she is. And we have 4 kids. She has 3 boys and I have 1 daughter. We married and our kids instantly became siblings in a beautiful way. We spent that summer going up to volunteering at Falcon Ridge, which we've done for 15 years, and it was probably one of the best summers of my life. Anyway, it's called Never Don't Last Forever. Start all over again, sorry. Trusted someone, shared my deepest pain. Never loved with such abandon, and so much at stake. Never exposed my scary self, I was afraid to turn away. Never knew how weakness somehow become my strength. Never healed by the inside, seen in another's face. Never expected to be accepted, I thought I was a freak of the race. they move to another state. Never don't last forever, your love came by and took its place. We're getting close to the end of our evening here. This next song is called Cavemen in Spacesuits. I've been working with alternative schools for the last 40 years. People who work with me, I've been doing wilderness therapy and teaching, and for some reason, people who have a hard time with regular school migrate to the way I operate. Maybe because it's the way I operate.
Right.
And what I experience with people that I work with is, this includes myself. We've got this reptilian brain that we're all very much aware of, and it comes back in fight or flight. And we have an aspect of us that has saved us through the millennia because we instantly react to threats. And it overrides our ability to let our upbringing kind of sort through the data and figure out what's really true. So we act in funky ways, which ultimately is the downfall of most of our behavior. So we're certain about the fact that we might live in the modern world and think that we're really sophisticated and intelligent above all that stuff, but we got a reptilian brain that runs the show when we get threatened. And that's what it's about, because people always ask me, can you help my kid stop being a reptile? They don't say it like that, but basically that's what they want. Thank you. No, it's actually Cable 3. No, they did change it to 1, didn't they? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so it normally would be in A minor, so it's in B flat minor. I get that right?
Yeah, no, right there.
Yeah. I need to make sure this is tuned. So can people relate to what I'm saying about this reptilian brain thing? I saw a lot of people nodding their heads because it's really written about humanity. And my understanding is true peace will only come about when all of us recognize that we are capable of the stuff that we don't think we're capable of. We always think it's the other guy.
Is that positive or negative?
It's both. Yeah. Positive and negative, it's, we got the double-edged sword. I think my steaming body is changing the temperature of this guitar. It's been 90,000 years since we walked out of Africa, and our brains have not changed that much. Capacity for love's creativity, I heard that life for them was such. When threats grow tight, fight or flight was the proven way. Preserve the tribe is always the must. Instant reaction that often saved the day, and then each search of food, save for their families. They roam these mighty lands. Giant skirted nations, scales of economy. When things get out of hand, this primal gene still guide our way. Spacesuits we wear don't change the way, and the airships we ride don't change the way. But that reptile we deny does change the way we behave. Here we are now, still cavemen in many ways. Fight or flight still rules the roost. Insecurity overshadows empathy. It blocks my eyes from seeing you. Primal genes still guide our way. Oh, and the spacesuits we wear don't change the way, and the airships we ride don't change the way, and that reptile we deny does change the way we behave. Continue a song here. I used to work in Poughkeepsie for 9 years, a group home for men with disabilities from birth. And they were also drug and alcohol addicted. So we were in this group home, and I was a rec therapist for 9 years. And there's one fella, you might have heard of when Geraldo, I forget his name, but he reported this place, Rivera. Quite a while though, about Willowbrook, which is a state-run program in New York City that horribly abused young children when they were there because they had developmental disabilities and they could get away with that stuff. So when I worked in this job, I happened to have 4 of these men who were all in their late 50s, who were those kids. They were called Willowbrookers. So the state of New York cut them a little more slack because they figured they owed them something. Bottom line is, I got to know several of these characters, and one of them was a big fellow, and he was born in Guatemala, and he was also kind of schizophrenic and kind of scary at times. So his nickname was, from birth, was Orso Loco, which in Spanish is Crazy Bear. And he was quite proud of Crazy Bear. So that was his nickname. So we wrote this song called Orso Loco. Okay. I'm looking to play harmonica on here. Actually. Yeah. Okay. Born in Guatemala, 1953, raised by his elders, young mom had gone away. Short change from the get-go, no, his brain was not the same, and they called him Crazy Bear, or so they called him Crazy Bear, or so low. Bigger than his hombres, could not lose a fight. his mind, though he saw darkness more than light. Too much for them to handle, so they gave him up for life. And they called him crazy man, so moved to New York City, where his aunt took up his plight. Did the best that she could, but they could not get it right. At the ripe age of 7, Willowbrook became his home. Mass hell and private chaos. He was not alone, and then called him crazy bear or solo. And they called him crazy bear or solo. That's the way it was till he felt no pain. Then on he just grew stronger, never would cry again. One day he split the shelter, just could not refrain. Sometimes life's a mystery, there's no one left to blame. And they call him crazy bear or go so. And they called him crazy bear oh so. Stay on the chorus, guys. Joe and I were in Ireland about 9 years ago, maybe more than that. She was on a 3-week artist retreat doing printmaking, and I got to hang out in this pre-famine stone cottage on one of the islands, islands on the peninsulas, one of the furthest west peninsulas in the country of Ireland. And she came back and hung, she had these prints, and she hung this one out to dry, and I was in this little stone cottage. I had nothing to do, so I was writing songs. And when I looked at that image, it instantly reminded me of her when she grew up on the beaches of Florida, on the Gulf Coast. And I know from her stories as a child that it was one of her lovely times of life, living right on the coast. And spent a lot of time in the Gulf. And this little girl dancing on there kind of reminded me of this woman I was in love with, was as an adult, having raised several kids, was now reclaiming herself as an artist. And to see this image of maybe herself as a child, to me it was like coming full circle, where there was something cool about somebody reclaiming part of them that maybe they lost for a while. At least that's how I interpreted it. So it's called The Lady and the Child. I'm also going to play the 12th string. Well, 12th string is also great. We're probably getting late. With a child's unblemished joy she sees, arms wide open as she dances with ease. Bright summer dress floats in the breeze, with a spirit free naturally. With the grace of a gifted soul she received, salt of the earth while she laid by the sea. On her dreams and her toes she spins and trace along the sand, and her smile comes easily.
everybody.